Hey, what's up, Brett? How was the vacation, man?
It's always good to go away and then it's fun coming back because
No, it's not. No.
oh, yeah. I it was fun. It was really good. I don't know if anybody's been to Sweden, but it's absolutely beautiful and we had a great time. All right, so we got a big week in Rockwall, Jim. What make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow, we have a pretty packed day. We've got our top 20% mastermind that's going on in the morning, and then we're turning right back around in the afternoon and doing our quarterly industry stats update, taking a look at how we should kind of maybe alter what we're doing versus what the marketplace has given us. It's going to be a great day. Great thing to keep on coming back to every quarter because you're going to get something new because this market's just everly changing.
Yeah, I think it's just something you put on your calendar and it gives you the talking points, it gives you the printouts you're going to take to the listings for the next quarter, the stuff you're going to put in front of buyers for the next quarter, all those talking points and data points, right?
Yeah, and as I keep talking to agents through this market, the number one thing that keeps being brought up, Brett, is communication. I don't know how to tell my seller what's going on in the market. Very much more importantly, as they're telling me or asking me in a passive aggressive way of what am I doing for my listing, what do I say? You tell them about the market and what the market's doing. Tell them about your marketing, but
Yeah,
it's a great time to tell them that. And this is just a whole new script, set of stats that you can guide them with.
I love it. Well, little teaser. We've been working behind the scenes on the real estate stats website, and in short order, you're going to have a new tool that lets you break it down by zip code and city.
Awesome.
So we've been doing it by county. We started by counties, and in the near future, you're going to have zip codes and cities. So we're really excited to announce that. Um, Jim, let's jump in.
So,
All right. Okay, so Rockwall County, uh, 223 active listing status changes the last 7 days. A little bit down, right? It goes up and it goes down, but 233 seems to be a little soft. Probably back to school might be disrupting that a little bit. Last minute summer vacations. I know a little thing or two about that. Um, but at the same time, it looks like there's a lot of activity coming. So there's five coming soons. Six are sitting, obviously, in a contingent contract, and 25 went option pending. So 25 to me seems a little low, maybe a little softer week of property going under contract. Certainly end of month. So we had 32 properties cancel, 10 expire, and we're sitting with 49 pending and then 55 closings at the end of the month. I will point out there is a flaw in that data, Jim, which is called the real estate agent. And if they closed it on Friday, they probably had a celebration on Saturday and Sunday and haven't closed it out in the MLS. So it may actually go higher. I'm being tongue in cheek. But if we took that number as accurate, which I don't believe it is, I would compare it to the previous month, which was 73. And then the month before that looks like around 66. So, um, maybe a little softer, but it's too early to tell because I promise you that number is going to go up as agents get to the office today and start closing out the listings they had on Friday, right?
yep, absolutely will.
All right. Let's jump. Dallas County, click. There we go. 1505 active status changes. So same story, a little down, a little softer week for new listings, but there's a lot incoming soon. 59 coming soon. They had 253 go option pending, down from 285. So I think it was just a soft week. End of month closings. that time of year. Look at this expired number, 229 expired in Dallas County. That was compared to 248 at the end of June and 221 at the end of May. So, Jim, we're still seeing a big expired listing numbers, right? Which I always see as opportunity, and sometimes it's missed opportunity. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that today, right?
Yeah.
Dallas County had 442 sold, same story. It's probably going to go higher than that compared to 466 and 471. So, just Dallas County alone, I keep asking myself the question like, was July a soft month or did it hold up to June and May? And from a closing perspective, it looks like it kind of held up. It looks like we're had 3 consistent months here, which just reminding everybody, we've had a roller coaster of 90 days in terms of geopolitical, mortgage rates, inflation, price of oil. And for the market to be as resilient as it is and just hold for those 90 days, I think is a really good thing for us. What do you
Yeah, the
think?
last half of the month we've been averaging right around that 685. That may not have even been the first half that we are at like 665, 667. But yeah, just kind of averaging at that 685 for the entire month, back and forth on the um, Iran war. And then, we had good news last week come from the Fed that they weren't going to raise the rate any. But you were kind of, everybody was sitting on pins and needles because it was 50-50 all month. So,
Yeah.
a lot of uncertainty.
I know 2 weeks ago when I was on here with you, I was saying, I don't believe they're going to do it. But
Yeah.
I love it when I'm actually right, um, which is only 50-50, Jim, right? All right, let's hit Collin County and then the lake. All right, Collin County, 1519 active status. Certainly same storyline, just a little softer, new listings. You got 178 when option pending, a little softer. So I think what's going to be interesting, Jim, is Logan with Housing Wire talks about how when the mortgage rate goes north of 6.64, history says it slows down buyer demand. The longer we stay above 6.64, the more housing demand can get disrupted, or history says it is. Here, this active option is where we'll see it, right? So I wouldn't over 1 week of data, but if I was saying, hey, maybe we had a softer week of properties going under contract, it could be interest rate related, but I wouldn't make that statement off 1 week. 2, 3 weeks from now, if we're seeing slower numbers, maybe. But we'll see, right? Like that's kind of the byproduct of those raised rates if it goes to that level, right?
Yep.
Um, anyway, just something to watch. 148 expired in Collin County compared to 124 and 88. So a lot more expired in Collin County at the end of July. They had 330 pending, which is a higher number they've seen in the last 6 weeks, which is great. And then they had 382 closeout, compared to 456 and 448. So not a big close. Collin County looks like it had a rough July. All right, let's look out at Henderson. They have 105 new active listing status. They had 17 go option pending, which is pretty consistent for them, right? Like that's a good number for Henderson County. They have 27 currently pending, which is a great number for them in the pending category. And they had 26 close out in the last 7 days compared to 22 and 33. Henderson County just keeps on trucking, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Any thoughts on the numbers before we move forward?
No, like you said, it's one of those things that it's great to be able to kind of see ahead of time and what the market may be doing. Because again, this is if you've got an active listing, this is just another conversation to let them know what the market's doing right now. And hey, we may have some weeks ahead of us. Let's check back in this next week and see what our numbers look like. Because yeah, if the market's softening up a little bit and you got somebody that really needs to sell, you need to be able to communicate that with them.
Yep. All right, so a couple of articles around the economy. Zillow economist Misha Fisher talks about how agents are perfectly positioned to help consumer pain points, address uncertainty, and win the market. Here, there's a couple talking points in here that I think are really important to point out. He's saying, look, big data and statistics by themselves aren't necessarily the whole story. They sometimes they can fail to tell the interesting story, which is where the local picture and the national picture don't match up. Why we do this call, right?
Uh,
To cover local data. Um, but where's this article? Here it is. As for home sellers, Vischer said the fight still lies in getting their expectations to match the current market. Rather than a bidding frenzy of the early 2020s, the economist said home sellers are more financially resilient than ever, but they're still anchored to what was happening in 2021 and 2022, despite the fact that home values have fallen in nearly half of US markets. I think that that's the statement of them being anchored to 2021 and 2022 is an interesting statement. And then down here at the end it says the agents who win this housing market reset aren't the ones who are waiting for the market to normalize. Agents who know what's happening in their local zip code, they're the ones who can walk into any client conversation with the numbers to back it up. What do you think, Jim?
yeah, Brett, as we're sitting here and I'm listening to you, it, you're 100% correct. We've talked about you've got to know the local market because that's really what distinguishes you, right? And I just had this thought of like, all right, you got to know this local market without relying on AI fully, right? You can rely on AI, but not fully. We're about to be in fantasy football season, and that's really important.
I
Um,
won last year, just so you know.
and, and I've used AI to do some mock drafts, and it will tell me, "Hey, oh yeah, this player, man, I'm drawing a blank on who it may have said, but it was referring to the previous team it was on. It does not have the new updated data, even though it has real-time data at its hands. And so if you're just asking what does my market look like without feeding it information that it can rely on, you're going to get bad data on the good side or on the bad side, either way. And so that's where this call, meetings, class, you got to have some good mix of all of it to know what that local market looks like and consistently know what it looks like.
Yeah. You know, Jim, it's saying homes that are priced right are selling fast. They're
Mhm.
still selling quickly. It's not a frozen market, but the homes that are anchored to what was happening in 2021 and 2022, they're the ones that are sitting. So I think the conversation here is how do we get stronger in pricing conversations? How do we get more confident? How do we probably add some assertiveness to our language? How do we help the sellers uh, pull the anchor from 2021 and 2022 and get real and right with today's market? Because those are the properties that are moving. Um, and I think we all could raise that skill set or work on that skill set, right? It's a skill set.
Yeah, once you pull those numbers, you ought to rehearse in front of somebody and practice those objection handlers in front of a colleague. And it just sharpen it. Iron sharpens iron. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, the other economic article is Logan's talking about how the housing market defies expectations even with higher rates. So, housing demand is actually staying positive year over year. Weekly pending home sales, total pending home sales, mortgage rates nearly 6.83 uh, are slowing growth, but our inventory started to rise, which is good, right? Um, we're winning in spite of. And he just goes into it like, despite the hawkish Fed, the escalation of the Iran conflict, rising mortgage rates, yada, 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 we've had year over year growth in our weekly pending sales, total pending sales, and purchase applications. So this year is outperforming last year in spite of. And that just goes to show that the American consumer wants to buy and sell real estate right now. And we need to hear that and take note of it. It's not going to be easy, but yet growth has slowed down over the past few weeks as mortgage rates have gotten above my key level of 6.64. The longer we stay above 6.64, the softer housing demand will get. This has typically been the case over the past few years. If you look today, close of Friday, it was 6.83, which is above 6.64, right? So I think we may see housing demand soften, but it doesn't mean it's going to fall off a cliff. And I'm telling you, Jim, our top agents, even our big teams that are scaled out, a lot of them are actually having better years this year than last year. The agents that are working and doing the activities, their business is growing this year, but they're having the focus on activities. They're having correct pricing conversations, and they're getting the properties to move. Now, that's not everybody, but the ones that are focused on the right things are. What do you think?
No, you're 100% correct. And the ones that are having the same results, they're working harder or they're working more. They've got to do more of whatever activity they have in front of them to get to the results they probably had. But that's just staying active in the market. And that's also how when you come out of a market like this, that you just zoom ahead of everybody else because you don't realize you're coming out of the market. You just have your head down, just going against the wind sometimes. Um, and if you feel like you are doing that, that's where a good coaching conversation comes in because a good coach makes all the difference in a market like this.
Absolutely. All right, a couple crazy things. You're going to love this one. All right, crypto. So, Jim, would you call yourself a crypto guy?
I have a lot of cryptocurrency, yeah,
Okay.
crypto assets, yeah, yeah.
So the question, there's two things that are in this article. Well, two perspectives of this article. One is, are you as a real estate agent having clients start to ask you if they can use cryptocurrency towards a real estate transaction? I think there it's starting to become a conversation. It's certainly not mainstream, but the people that have crypto, I actually believe that they would love to use that asset towards a real estate transaction. And in March, Fannie Mae, and I'm going to do my best to explain this, came out and said they're bringing product to the market to allow crypto to be included in a real estate transaction. And here's my understanding of what this looks like. They're going to be they're preparing to accept crypto assisted mortgages for the first time in response. It's two loans bundled into a single monthly payment, a conforming Fannie Mae mortgage, which I would go on assumption that they would do an 80% loan traditional and allow you to add a second loan, maybe a 15% loan that was backed by your crypto collateral in lieu of cash. So down here, what they're saying is the collateral requirements would be you would have to show $250 of Bitcoin for every $100 borrowed. So 2.5 times value in crypto against the collateral of the loan. So if I was buying $100,000 house, Jim, 80,000 would be a traditional loan. If I put 5% cash down and I used my crypto for the 15,000 or the 15% loan, I would have to have what's two and a half of 15, 37.5 in crypto uh, to collateralize that 15%. Now, here's what's interesting about this. This is a Fannie Mae product.
Hmm.
So that means that because it's a Fannie Mae product, your traditional lenders should be able to get access to this. So it'd be an interesting article to grab and send to your lender and say, what do you know about this? Um, Two, I actually think this is more a social media post saying, hey, where are my
Yeah.
crypto people? Uh, if you've ever thought about using crypto towards real estate, there's some new conversations and potentially some new options. Reach out. They're not going to be the challenge with crypto is the title companies and the lenders expect the crypto to be converted into liquid US dollars in order for it to transact, where Fannie Mae is allowing it to be collateral against a loan. And I think that that's probably more doable in the future. I don't know, Jim. You're the guy. You're the crypto guy. You love to talk about this. So what do you think?
And I won't go on too much of a soliloquy here, but Brett, what I would tell you is if you look at a lot of the analysts on crypto, uh, they predicted 4 years ago, whenever everything was just soaring high, that it was like, man, we're going to see about a 5 or 6 year hiatus on everything that we're looking at right now. And I remember hearing that, I was like, man, what are you talking about? What's going to happen? Uh, Here we are. But around like 2030, between 2030 and 35, they've had this next upward movement with it. And I think everybody is kind of looking on that horizon, trying to figure out how can we get ahead of this so we don't lose out? How do we avoid becoming a blockbuster? Especially in the finance world, where there's a thing called definance, which I think is when you talk about a disruptor, that will absolutely disrupt the lending community. Definance will be huge. Yeah, there's just a lot of good that can happen with it that excites me. But yeah, I think just keeping an eye out on what's going on in the blockchain world because it's more. I hate calling it currency because it's a technology. But most of what you're looking at is a technology, and it's a way to exchange that technology where there is finance and currency to it also.
There you go. All right, a couple other things. You've heard me talk about first time homebuyers 100 times. The marketplace used to have 40% of the transactions were first time homebuyers. We are currently down to 21% of the home sales being first time homebuyers, which we all know why and we understand. However, I don't have the crystal ball of when, but I promise you affordability is improving. And the first time homebuyers at some point are going to come back to the marketplace with a vengeance. And if you wait until that happens, you will probably be too late. So what this article is talking about is what does first time homebuyers seminars look like today? And Jim, if I was an agent in the marketplace today, maybe I just had an autopilot playbook that once a quarter I ran a first time homebuyer seminar. And it was more about the messaging and the marketing of going out to the marketplace, less about how many people actually showed up for it.
Yeah.
And then it became a part of conversations. And then I might say, hey, look, first time homebuyer seminar, it's 1 hour long. And then if you want to stick around for the extra 30 minutes, we talk about house hacking and how people are finding deals and how people are buying half a duplex and renting out the other side or buying their first home and getting a roommate or, all the things of what happens. But maybe you just have that on autopilot in your business going forward once a quarter, and I'm telling you, it will come back. I don't know exactly when, but it would be very strategic to be in front of the first time homebuyer wave that will come. Do you think I'm crazy? I keep
No,
preaching.
I,
Yeah.
I, no, I absolutely don't. I was sitting here thinking about being at reunion and going to some KW Wealth stuff, and some of the things that they talked about were just so far over my head, but they captivated my attention because they were talking about all these creative investment opportunities and ways that you can invest. And it's like, man, there's no way I'd do that. But I was enthralled with every word that they were saying because I was like, oh, how would that work in my life? And then they would kind of turn it back around and, hey, here's a very practical way. It was like this nice balance swing back and forth to what they were preaching. And I think that's what you kind of have to take with a, a first-time home buyer seminar. And I love them. I absolutely love them.
I just think it would be very strategic.
Yeah.
All right. A couple quick things. The all in one tech stack is over. Now it's about building ecosystems. So, Jim, the easy way to explain this is like your Claude AI has connectors to your Gmail and your calendar and this, that, and the other. There was a period of time in real estate, like we wanted to write one check and that tech platform covered everything in our real estate business. The reality of that in the future is not reality, meaning you're going to have a technology stack that is connected, but it's going to be an ecosystem, not a platform in the future. And I just think it it's one important to know this, but two, it makes me nervous because me included, real estate agents are really prone to pulling out a credit card at trade shows and conventions and vendor halls and uh, you know hopefully on this call we can talk about what are good tech stack uh, platforms. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a very outdated article very soon because I think the agent that is savvy and knows how to use AI will develop their own tech stack, their own ecosystem that is absolutely what they need, minutely down to what they do. And it may cost them $5 a month. It is an absolute disruptor. If you don't know what I'm talking about or going, Jim, how do we do that? Show up to our monthly AI mastermind. I think here pretty soon, once we get back in school, we're going to start doing it every 2 weeks because a lot of this moves so fast. But yeah, the agent that is really onto it is going to develop their own tech stack.
There you go. All right. CoStar. This one, I just love following this storyline. So, CoStar owns Homes.com. CoStar is not happy with Homes.com. That's the mountaintop view. So they cut 40% of their sales team and they're shifting representatives in the field as the company prepares to roll out a higher priced advertising tier on the residential portal. Why I think this is important for us to know. I think our agents are going to start getting calls. I think the booth at Mega Camp's going to be homes.com trying to sell stuff. And uh, I've had some agents tell me they've gotten great success from homes.com. And I've had other agents tell me it was a waste of money. But it is one of the bigger aggregator websites, so it's worthy of a mention to pay attention. Um, I don't know. They got to increase the revenue of homes.com to make it viable. And that means they're going to figure out how to charge us more. And it also says they're looking to go one to one relational versus sign up and pay here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you looked around and the people that say it's worthwhile, they weren't relying on it as a crutch for their business. It was an enhancement. And I bet those two things go along, they correlate very well.
Yep. All right. Hottest housing markets in America. Number one, Lahui, Hawaii. Let's all move, right?
Absolutely.
Here's my weird aha on this. So here's the top 20 hottest housing markets in the US right now. None are in Texas right now, and none, with the exception of Tampa, I guess you could call Salt Lake City, major metropolitan areas. It's like tiny names that I've never even heard of, like Fort Lee, New Jersey, Yarmouth, is that Maine? Uh, uh, Cazenovia, New York. So here's my little aha on here, Jim, is I think the Sun Belt for one, and I think major metropolitan areas are going through a period of reset right now, meaning they had huge price appreciations. They were hot. And we're in a reset period around our real estate markets, which is probably healthy for the future. But it means that major metropolitan areas, probably just by sheer size and inventory, is keeping us from being hot right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was an interesting list to say the least. Red
Yeah.
Hook, New York. Ever heard of it?
No,
Casco.
A lot of Yankee states up there.
Yeah. So anyway, just a quick list for nothing other than a talking point around major metropolitan areas. Jim, final thoughts? It's August, man. Y'all got big meetings tomorrow. I know Matt's with you guys. I've been out of town, so he's going to be with you guys tomorrow, which I'm excited about. What else, Jim?
No, I think that's the big focus. Hey, show up tomorrow. It's going to be a great day. I always love hearing Brett, your voice and your perspective. You got so many great insights, but you get to hear a different voice this time around. So show up for it because it'll be a treat.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
All right, you too, Brett.
Bye.